to season 4 of The Positive Side of the Bad Stuff. I'm Leslie Pogue, your host, Chief Happy Officer, also known as Happy Chick, and I am here to bring you a wonderful, wonderful season this time. For the next 13 episodes, we're going to be talking about a lot of things, and this season I'm focusing a lot more on getting out of the dark place, more of the depression, anxiety, panic disorder, and giving you tools to work from that. I had an opportunity to watch Molly's Game, which, if you don't know, it's a movie that came out last year, 2017, about Molly Bloom, and she ran and then she created her own poker game. Turned out after a while some of the things she did is what made it illegal, but if you ever see the movie, or if you've seen the movie, you understand, or at least if you feel anything like me, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's whatever. But suffice it to say, there was a poker term that came up that stuck with me, that I feel, just like I feel like listening is the gateway to really anything. You have to be a good listener, and I talk about listening a lot. This term is really going all in, and the term is called pot committed. Basically, you've played your hand, you're committed to the pot that's on the table, you're gonna go all in to the end, you're pot committed. So in this moment, I want you to ask yourself, as it relates to your goals, your healing, your self-wellness, are you pot committed? I mean, really ask yourself, and be honest with yourself and say yes or no. Because, and don't just say yes or no, don't even think about it shortly. Really think about it. As we move forward this season, I really want to give you some solid tools to help you with the anxiety, panic disorder, the depression, but from a regular place. Because again, you know me, I'm not a therapist. I highly recommend that you see a therapist if you feel like you're at that place where you truly just cannot function. But if you are pushing through, you're having some really dark days, or you're not really getting to the other side of what you're trying to do, then this is definitely for you. And I want you, for the next 13 weeks, to be pot committed. I want you to commit to your health, your wellness, your being okay with the okay. And what I mean by that is not sweating the small stuff, learning how to say no, and just being okay with letting yourself off the hook. You know, not beating yourself up because you are sadder than most, or you have a harder time than other people to do different things. Depression is a real illness. It is a chemical imbalance. And what you need to do is figure out, what is it that's off center for you? That's the chemical part. Now, yes, there's also environmental things that play into depression, and you're going to want to work on that stuff too. And I can help you with that. I'm just going to give you your tip for this week, which is around the pot committed. All right? So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can also go to the website, www.thehabitofhappy.com, and look for the couple of products that have come out. 52 Weeks to Happy is a wonderful audio program that love you. You can use the link down there to sign up for that or get more information. We also have the 28 Days to Happy 4-week coaching program. You can use the other link for that. And of course, you can always check out my books, 28 Days to Happy. And the other book is, what else? The Positive Side of the Bad Stuff. I'll be right back. Being all in, pot committed. So what does that mean as it relates to our wellness? Well, what I want you to think about, and if you're going to be all into it, is to really look at your entire picture. Look at, and I've mentioned this before, I'm sure, if you followed along with some of my things. You want to look at the TV shows you're watching. You want to look at the food you're eating. You want to look at the people that are around you. And that plays into your stimuli. Stimuli is everything. We think about stimuli as being those stimulants that come into our body, and really as human beings, a lot of us are programmed to really just think about the food. We really are programmed to just think about the food that we digest, and it's so much more than that. You want to think about your living environment. You want to think about, again, the people you're around. Is your car clean? Is your house clean? You know, these small little things that might seem like they're nothing, if you start to pay attention to how your body reacts when they are in play, you'll know how to operate. When I was first diagnosed with anxiety panic disorder with depression, I was given a lot of medication. I was given Prozac first, then I was given lithium, and I wouldn't get on the lithium. That's a whole other story and a whole other speech. So you can read my material, and that'll tell you the background story to that. But what I will say is, at some point in my research, I realized that it was a chemical imbalance, because the doctors didn't even tell me that, really. They just threw drugs at me. So what I had to learn is how to manage that drug imbalance. When you understand that caffeine, sugar, these are things that are uppers. For someone who suffers from depression, or even anxiety, I guess, too, when that starts to go away, your low can be lower than most. And so you need to understand that. So by limiting, not taking away, I am not a person that believes in extraction, in limitation, in abstinence. I believe in abundance. And I believe that it's okay to have a cup of coffee, at least one, you know, maybe some more. But maybe right now you're having 4 or 5 in the course of an 8-hour workday. Not so good. Yeah, probably not. That is causing some stuff, I'm pretty sure, especially if you do have this kind of imbalance. Because what we need to realize is that some people can handle all of that, but some of us cannot. I know I cannot. If you suffer from depression and anxiety and panic and fear and all of those things, you cannot either. So if you are pot committed, then you are committed to being all in and seeing it all the way through to your wellness. So over the next week, I want you to really look at, now this is not a series. I won't have more stuff for you to do next week. Next week will be a different topic, but I do want you to pay attention to this. This week, I want you to really pay attention to what you're putting into your body. What TV shows are you watching? Is it mainly drama? Is it mainly like horror or scary? How much are you laughing when you watch television? Or on the news feeds of the Facebook, on the Instagrams, on the internet stuff that the YouTubing of stuff. How much are you laughing? How much joy are you getting? And it's okay if your joy comes from information. I know I love documentaries and things, true stories about people. It gives me such joy. It's just cerebral. It just makes me happy. If that gives you joy, then look at that. But try to interject some joy. Try to interject some humor, some laughter, some things like that into your day. Now, to the easy, the more manageable thing, the food stuff. Caffeine is a big one. It's an obvious one. Sugar is a big one and an obvious one. If you are a coffee drinker, try to switch to tea after your first cup of however you take your coffee, whether it's black, whether it's just mostly sugar and cream, whatever you do first thing in the morning to get you going, don't change that. I say that because our morning routines and our routines also help us in the depression and the anxiety and all that. So our routines are actually good things. So you don't want to change too much too fast, because change also plays into that. So keep your morning routine that gets you going into your day, but once you're into your day, that's where you want to start to make some changes where you can, okay? So start your day with your regular cup of coffee. Try and switch to tea later on in the day. Decaf, that still has caffeine, and honestly, you do want to wean yourself off, but try really hard. Like, start doing the math on the numbers of cups and pay attention to what your body does. To be fair, again, I'm not a doctor, so try not to do anything too drastic. And if you feel that you need to get your doctor's permission before you make any changes, I highly recommend you listen to that voice inside of you that's telling you to do that. However, what happens when we change these kinds of things, the sugar, the bread, the caffeine, because bread turns into sugar, pasta, same thing. Our body changes. So you might get lightheaded, you might sweat, you might have a little bit of the shakes. Honestly, it shouldn't be that drastic, but if you do notice that, it could be because of some of the changes that you make if you decide to do that. So just be aware. It might not be anything major, but pay attention to it, because you're changing some of the chemistry that's going in. Red meat isn't good, but I will say this. For some people, it actually levels things off. I didn't realize it myself. I started doing the plan by, let's see, it's right here, huh? I'm sitting right here in my office. The Plan by Lynn Jeanette Recitas. For those of you who are familiar with that, it's a wonderful, it's actually really good. I hope I'm okay plugging this. It's not my book. I get no royalties from plugging this book. This person doesn't even know I'm plugging them. I'm plugging them because I've used it. It's awesome. I still haven't gone all the way through. I still can't even get through the first 3 to 5 days, to be honest with you, actually. But what it has taught me is that to pay attention to the chemistry in your body based on the food that you eat. Yes. Okay. So when you use this, or when you just take the time to learn about how your body reacts to different foods, it also helps you with the depression. For me, guess what I get to keep having? My In-N-Out burgers. Yeah. I'm so happy about that. Exactly. Because for some reason, burgers, I haven't tried all red meat, but burgers, hamburger meat, red meat, I don't gain a lot of weight, if any, really, at all, which is awesome. So find those areas that work well with your own body chemistry. And being honest with you, everybody in the house might be different. So pay attention to all that. You guys can make it a game or make it an event for the next, week or 2 or a month, 30 days. See what you can do with that. So that's with the food stuff. Sleep. Oh, I know. This is a big one. A really big one. You gotta get enough sleep. I cannot stress that enough. The reason why is not so that you're alert, but that is how our bodies heal themselves. Our bodies heal when we sleep, when we rest. So you gotta get some sleep. Sneak it in where you can. If you're at work, try and take a 20-minute out of your hour-long lunch, which you need to be taking. Pull out 20 minutes, go sit in your car, go find a tree in the park. We're coming into spring and summer. Go find a nice place where you can rest on a city bench, stretch out under a tree, or sit in your car with the windows down and rest. And just close your eyes. Even if you don't get to fall asleep, but close your eyes and rest. Don't listen to music or anything. Just sit in that silence for 20 minutes. Once you start getting into 30 or 40 minutes, you start getting into your REM sleep, and that's a hard sleep. So coming out of that can also impact you for the rest of your day. So you might want to just stay at your 20 minutes. But close your eyes for 20 minutes a day in the middle of the day. You'd be amazed at how much it recharges you and gives you the rest of that thing, to get the rest of it, how well it gives you the rest of that energy you need to get to the rest of your day. Especially for those of you who have side hustles. You go to work, and then after work, you go to work. Or if you're managing a family, same thing. Once you finish your day job, you start your night job. You need energy for that. So bake that into the middle of your day and take a break, take a rest for 20 minutes. Find that 20 minutes here and there. Even if you can't do it every single day, just find 2 to 3 days out of your week to just go find a nice spot, close your eyes, have some silent time for like 20 minutes, and pay attention to how it reacts to your body, and you'll find that you're a little bit more relaxed. You're able to pay attention to those breaths more, which leads me to that last thing, your breathing. The way that I found out that I had anxiety panic disorder with depression was in my 20s. I was walking down the hall, and this happened over a course of days. I didn't really notice it, but there came a day where I was walking down the hall and I didn't have enough breath to make it. Right, so I ended up in the middle of the hallway, leaned against the wall because I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating, as it turns out. Some coworkers found me sitting on the floor, leaned up against the wall, just trying to catch my breath, because my breath had become so shallow, I was breathing in my chest. And I learned that when I get stressed, when I'm afraid, when I'm, I guess, stressed, all of that falls under stress, I hold my breath. I don't know that I'm doing it. So what happens is, over time of doing that, there comes a point where I'm not breathing properly, and I begin to hyperventilate. This may be happening to you as well. You might find yourself at the end of a stressful day and your breath is really shallow, or you're really tired, you're kind of lightheaded. These are indicators that you're not breathing correctly. You might be hyperventilating, or you might just be, just not breathing correctly, holding your breath or whatever it is. But pay attention to your breath. Your breath should be from your belly, from your stomach. Deep breaths all the time, though. I mean, that's how breath should happen. It should be full breaths from your belly all the way through to your nose and through your mouth, and out and back in again. It shouldn't stop up here. So over the next week, pay attention to how you're breathing, because hyperventilating can cause a problem. They ended up taking me to emergency, and I had to go to the hospital. I literally couldn't breathe. And then after that, I was down. I was out for the next, I think, 2 or 3 days. It's been so long now. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but I know it was days. I know I wasn't back at work the next day. It took a day or two to get my energy back and to get me back on track. I think that's definitely when they started prescribing the medication, of course, but we'll talk about medication at another time. But keep in mind that medication does not have to be for life. So just keep that in mind. So those are the 3 things I want you to think about. Think about all the stimuli that's coming into your world. Look at your food and really gauge what's happening. Pull out some of the things, minimize some of the things that are stimulants. Because for someone that suffers from depression, your stimulants, once you start to come down, your down could be lower, especially if you are right now in the middle of a high stress time in your life, or high sadness would be high stress as well. Maybe you've suffered a loss of either a person, employment, even if you've lost a lot of weight, so you're shifting how you think about you, just any kind of major change in your life that makes a difference. So pay attention to how that's affecting your world, and then paying attention to your breath. These are so important when managing your depression, and that's how you live your happy. Paying attention to your truth. What is your truth about all of these things? And honestly, be honest with yourself. If your truth is, well, I don't want to give up my coffee, I don't want to give up my sugar, I don't want to give up, then that's okay. That is all right. Just own the consequences that come with that. Or find another solution. Because life is not supposed to be hard. That's one thing I've started to learn, and even I'm putting it into practice. It's not supposed to be hard. When things are difficult and challenging, it means you're going about it the wrong way. They're supposed to be smooth and fluid. The universe has a way of working with us and bringing things that we need directly to us. And when we're pushing against it, that's what makes it hard. You gotta release. You gotta yield. Let go. Surrender does not have to be a dirty word. It does not. So are you pot committed to your mental health, your mental wellness? Are you pot committed? Because I am. I am. If you are, I'd love to hear from you. Please comment below. I'd love to hear what you're doing this week. Comment below. Go ahead and hit me up on Facebook at The Habit of Happy. I'd love to hear from you. The bad stuff this season is gonna get a little bit more serious, but I have some guests as well. I have on 1 week. I'll let you know the weeks as we progress, or to go to my website at www.thebadstuff.com www.thehabitofhappy.com to check out the lineup of who's coming on the show. I have a wonderful lady, Marquesa Petway. She is the head of Black NSA. NSA is National Speakers Association. I did a wonderful interview with her. I did a wonderful interview with Kerry. His last name is escaping me right now, but Kerry, he is in charge of Keeping It 100, which is fantastic. It is grown up, y'all. I know it is a grown-up organization that gets people together, men and women, to have the men and women conversations. And I went to one of their events. It was such a joy and such a pleasure to see adults acting like adults. You know, it was such a joy. So these are just a couple. I'm not going to give you all the people that's going to be on the show, but it's just a handful because the show is really about me. And it's me helping you get to your happy. Happy. If you still remember what the happy stands for, say it with me. H, hear your truth. A, acknowledge your feelings. The first P is to give yourself permission to feel better. The second P is to purge the past, and your Y is to yield to your new life. When you put all those pieces together in a way that I teach you, then you can always live in your happy. So, all right, we're just about done with this week's episode. Welcome to season 4. I want you to join me next week when next week I'm going to give you the secrets to managing your depression without medication. Yeah, so tune in next week. Yeah, I'm going to have some really good stuff, some really good tips for you on managing your depression without medication. So some secrets that you might not know and that your doctor might not be telling you as well. And that's okay, all right? All right, well, as always, until next time, I want you guys to be the best you, live the bestest life, and to always live in your happy and go be do.